Hey fam, good night. Good night and welcome. This is Cam, and as usual, we're gonna be chatting about something very interesting. And the question is, why are men so delusional? Why are men so delusional? So, do you agree? Do you agree that men are delusional? First and foremost, do you agree? Do you agree that they are more delusional than women? And why do you think? So, if you agree from your observation, if you find that men seem to be more delusional than women, generally speaking, can you offer any suggestions as to why this is so? Now, if you know me, you should know by now that gender issues gender issues are very important to me. I am intrigued by gender issues, male, female, roles, rights, responsibilities. I'm very intrigued, and this shows up in my writing. It shows up in my discussions that I tend to have. Right? It every day I think about this kind of thing every day, and I have a lot of material. I have a lot of books and videos planned around that topic, gender. Gender these days is a very controversial topic. It has always been controversial, but right now, this whole thing of gender identity and who am I, which pronoun do I use, do I force persons to accept the pronouns that I choose at any given moment? Am I infringing on the rights of others by the declaration that I choose regarding gender? It's a very hot topic, a very hot topic today. And it's something that I really think about a lot. I really do think about it a lot. Maybe some persons might think, against men, which would be nothing would be further from the truth. I love men. I love the concept of masculinity. I think masculinity is very much needed, very much wanted, just as femininity is. We balance each other. There's just, for me, there's no avoiding that. But there is definitely an imbalance in society now as it regards the role of men and women, as it regards how seriously men are taken in comparison to how seriously women are taken. Definitely the patriarchy exists, and It's skewed against women, even though, yeah, you can think of, there are certain things that seem as if women get away with certain things. It might seem that way, but all in all, when you look at the big picture, when I look at the big picture, it's skewed against women. Men win almost by default. They have much more support in terms of just how the systems are set up. And yeah, you have women nowadays blazing forward, and for example, in academia, women are ramping up, taking hold of some of a lot of the spaces in academia, in business, making some headway in politics and so on. But it still is the case that just by the presence of men, a lot of times, just the presence of a man puts him on top, just by the sound of his voice, just by it's like just the fact that he is a male. And this is something I've experienced. You might say, you as a woman, you might be in a group and you make a statement. It's not given any credibility, it's not given any weight, and then a male will come and make the exact same statement, and all of a sudden it takes on new life. It's given new weight, new meaning. This is something I've experienced, right? And so, yeah, these kinds of issues, I want to get to the bottom of them. I want to be actively involved in getting to the core, getting to the nitty gritty, and challenging our beliefs, challenging the established things that we have. Some of them which they have no real foundation. I remember on my Facebook page the other day, I posted a question. Why should a woman submit to a man? Why? Give me one good reason other than a religious reason, other than to say the Bible says so or the Quran says so. Because these religious texts are very patriarchal, were written by men, and so it is the assumption that they would promote it. So I wanted to take that out of the equation. And nobody really rose to the challenge. Nobody was able to provide a reason why a woman should submit to a man, why he should be the head of the family, why his decision should be the final decision. I am yet to hear a good, solid reason for that. But anyway, what we're talking about tonight is delusion. Delusion. Why are men so delusional? And we're assuming that they are. If you're challenging that they are, I'd want you to tell me why you're challenging it. What is your opinion on that? So let me read the definition. So this is from the online Oxford. What is the definition of delusional? So it's an adjective characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. So it's actually a mental condition. For example, hospitalization for schizophrenia and delusional paranoia. So it's based on or having faulty judgment, mistaken, their delusional belief in the project's merits never wavers. All right, so basically, it's when you hold to a belief that has no backing, no backative. It's contrary to what the reality is saying. It's contrary to what all other pointers are telling you. You hold a particular opinion based on false information, and you refuse to change in spite of evidence to the contrary. That is what it means by delusional. And I'm going to tell you why I think most men, the vast majority of men, the vast majority of times, are delusional. I'm going to give you some examples of things that have happened to me. Things that have happened to me recently too. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. All right. And I honestly, I'm a woman, but I try to be objective. If you think I'm being biased, feel free to tell me so, and feel free to explain to me why you say that. But I try to be objective. And when I compare how women react to situations, I think women are more realistic and practical in how we sum up a situation, even though we're the ones who are more often accused of being emotional and irrational, and reactive to things. I actually think it's the other way around. Women will tell you, even young girls will tell you, teenage girls, even younger, if you're walking on the street and so there's a man approaching me, whether it's a man you know or it's a stranger, right? And you say, "Good morning." You just say, "Good morning." Tell him good morning. Okay, so the first time you say it, all right, so he says, "Good morning." The next morning, you see him again, you say, "Good morning." You see that second time you tell him, it's like something clicks in his head. And he is now convinced that you are, you see, just in saying good morning, he's convinced. Most men, this is how most of them are. They are convinced that just by you saying good morning, you are inviting them to, it's almost like you're saying, "Let's go steady. Let's go on a date." We are now, you're opening the way for intimacy just by telling him good morning. And worse, if you smile, when you say good morning, that's pretty much like, "Let's get married." It's like they have no, I don't know, but most men, it's like they don't have the capacity to think platonic in terms of male, female. Even if they're in a so-called friendship, it's like the ultimate goal is always to cross over that line into intimacy. They're always, if they're not actively trying to do it, it's like they constantly have it at the back of their mind, right? And this is something I've experienced over and over from from I was knee high to a grasshopper growing up. Just some common courtesies. Common courtesies. Hello, how you doing? Good morning. You wave, you smile, and you do that a second time, you do that a third time. It's like you're inviting him to date, or you're inviting him to pursue you. All of a sudden his demeanor changes. He's like he's expecting certain things from you just on that. It's like as you're signing a contract with him. Unwritten, non-verbal contract. So I would advise women and girls, you have to be careful when you approach men on the road, in your community. Be very conscious of this, be very careful of this, that just by saying good morning, saying hello, it might be interpreted as you're coming on to them, or you're giving them, you're opening up the way for them to come on to you. And I'm not exaggerating. A lot of time, if men are honest, they will tell you how when they are together with their friends. And some of us women, we overhear these conversations as well when they are together and they're talking about women and how, boy, she did this or she did that, and she's so interested in me. I have her down pat. I have her. So when you hear the slight little things that the woman did, the slight little thing that the woman, she may have offered him something, offered him a drink, offered him a cookie, said hello, maybe tarried 1 minute too late, too much at the coffee stand or at the photocopier. And that is immediately interpreted as, oh, she's so interested in me. I have her in my corner. She loves me. When you hear these men how they brag and boast about their conquests and what they interpret as being a conquest, it will amaze you. And it will cause you as a woman, when you hear these things and when you're aware of how they interpret the things that you do, it makes you very conscious, very aware of how you approach men, because a lot of them will feel entitled. Just the mere fact that you're a woman and they're a man, they already feel entitled to your attention and entitled to your affection. Sometimes even entitled to your body if they so choose. And if you give them the slightest hint of interest or affection, they definitely, right, will act on it. Hello, Stephen. Stephen says, anecdotal experience don't exist in the space of your reality. What does that mean? The fairy tale, the, the fairy tale flexes and romantic delusions in your head won't change anything. Who you averagely attract is pretty much your accurate self-worth. Commitments, relationships solidify my point. I'm not sure I understand what Stephen is saying. I actually not sure I'm understanding. Maybe I need to take some time and read it later when I'm off the air to really understand what he's saying. But I'm talking about my experience and the experience that many women have had. Some slight gestures, some polite gestures are mistaken for affection, interest. And it's like when they act on it, when the men act on it, and then the women hold back and say, hey, no, that's not what I meant. It's like it's an insult. So no, you're dissing them. You're dissing him by not meeting his demands. Right? So I'm saying to women, you need to be careful because the slightest thing you do might be misinterpreted by most men. Of course, we're speaking generally. Not all men are like this, that goes without saying, but a lot of men are like this. We see it in the kind of art. So you might be just there. Let's say on social media, right? You as a woman on social media, whether on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And many women will tell you that your inbox is flooded with these unsolicited pics, the dick pics as we call them, from these dozens of men. They just feel like, and I'm saying, why would you? This is a perfect stranger in most cases. I don't know these people. Why would you think it is okay for you to be throwing your unsolicited pics of your private parts into women's faces just randomly over the internet? You know how many times I'm on social media? For example, I'm on Facebook. And you see calls just coming in, just random calls coming in from these men. Why would you think to be calling a stranger? I know we have cultural disparities, right? What is acceptable in one culture might not be acceptable in another culture. Some people are, they greet each other differently. Some people kiss each other to greet, whether male or female. But I'm almost sure it is not acceptable. Or you tell me, is it acceptable in your culture to be calling a perfect stranger? And what is the intention of these calls? These are intimate calls. These men are hoping that you, as a perfect stranger, you as a woman he has never met, his intention is that you're going to pick up the phone and automatically go into intimate conversation with him. Probably have intercourse on the phone, right? For some people, that's possible. That's what they have in their intention, right? Phone intercourse. How on earth can that be acceptable in your mind as a man, as a grown man? How can that be acceptable? The kind of self-delusion that requires for somebody to think it is okay to just randomly send out calls and you're expecting the person on the other end to pick up the phone and go into intimate conversation with you. They have never met you, they have never seen you. They're pretty much, and I don't see women behaving this way certainly not on that scale. And when I say on that scale, I mean we women are bombarded by these things. I know you're gonna have some women who put themselves out there, who are, they do these things, but vastly the rate at which the men do it, the number of men who do it, they are vastly outnumbered. They're vastly outnumbered. The tiny fraction of women who think it in their head to do something like this. It's like you men, the entitlement is so strong. You think that whatever you do, the woman should receive you. She should accept you. No matter how you come over into her space, she should accept you. So Stephen is saying, question. So it's arguably fair to say women take more photos to post on social media to get validation from their friends and peers. It helps make them feel beautiful. Taking photos also helps women to see how they look to others. It's more about proving that they do have something to show to the world. I'm really not getting your point. Both men and women on social media will post pics for whatever reason. You just love how you look, or you want other persons to see your beauty, to admire you, maybe to like your pic, to love your pic. Everybody, male and female, posts pics on their page. That's a different thing from coming over into somebody's inbox with unsolicited pics of your private parts. That's a different thing from calling the person, hoping to be in intimate dialogue with the person. Two different things. Social media is there for you if you want to show your beauty, showcase your beauty to your friends, even to strangers. You post it on your page, and then whoever chooses to will like, will comment if they choose to. You are putting that up. It's your space. It's your space, you're putting it up. It's different from somebody else now infringing on your space, coming over into your page with unsolicited comments and unsolicited pics and unwelcomed calls. That's a total different thing. To me, that's a total different thing. It shows a level of entitlement and a level of delusion that is the realm of men. Men own that. Men, it's a male thing. That's a male thing. And I want men to tell me, why is it that you behave like this? Why do you think it is okay to do this? Do you ever stop to think and say, boy, this can't feel good to have people up in my face like this, to have people throwing themselves at me like this, demanding my attention like this? It cannot feel good. And it shows that you yourself don't have much regard or respect for yourself or esteem for yourself. That is how it comes across to me. I'll share two examples of something that happened to me recently. So I have a phone that was giving me problems, right? The thing with my phone was the button that turns the phone on, it wasn't working. So in order for me to make a call on that phone, I had to either dial have someone dial the number so that it came on, so I could have access to the screen or find some other way to make the phone come on, right? So I was in the process of getting a new phone. So I was on a route taxi and I needed to make a call. I needed to make an urgent call, but I knew that I couldn't, I didn't have access to the keypad because my phone wouldn't come on and there was no way to press it. That button wasn't working. So quickly I said to myself, okay, I need, if I ask, there were three other persons in the taxi. So this is a route taxi, right? Three other passengers in the taxi. I said, okay, if I can ask one of them to just dial my number, if one of them dial my number, then the call would come in and my screen would light up and I can go ahead and make my call, this urgent call I wanted to make. So it flashed in my head. I said, okay, I'm good. There was this guy sitting beside me to my right. I looked at him and something in me is like something telling me, no, this is not a good idea. You know what is going to happen. Do not do it. A voice was saying to me, do not do this. And I didn't listen to that voice. I guess because of the urgency of the situation, I didn't listen to the voice. I said, okay, sir, I'm going to give you my number and ask you to just dial this number quickly for me because I need to. This is the only way I'll be able to use my phone. Right? Against my better judgment, against every advice that my spirit was giving to me, I said, here's my number. Just dial it for me quickly so that I can get to use my phone. He took the number, right? Dial the number. My phone lights up. I clearly didn't accept the call because that wasn't the point, right? But I got to use my phone. I made my call, right? As soon as I made my call, this guy starts hitting on me. So, can I get to know you? Can we meet? I said, so I said to him, and so he had a driver who's a male, and another male was in the front of the car. And then he is beside me or on the back. So I said to him, why does it always have to be, why your interaction with a female always has to be the end point to get into her pants, to get into her drawers? Isn't it possible for you as an adult male to lend a helping hand to a female on the road who is in a situation? Is it possible in your reality for you to be able to do that without the ultimate goal of getting into her underwear? And you could see that the two other men in the taxi, they felt offended on his behalf. In other words, they're saying, brethren, do better than man, the woman she taught the truth. Why is it that a woman can't ask you just a simple gesture to help her out in a situation without you turning it into something that you have to exploit, that you have to manipulate, that you have to turn it now into, well, I'm going to look that woman here now. We need to get, say, me have our number now. We need to talk. We need to know each other. Why? Why does it have to be that? And I was kind of getting upset. I'm probably a bit upset with myself too because I knew this was what was good, because this is just how most men are. So he came off the taxi, right? Without a without a hitch. By the time I came off and went home, this man calling me, calling my phone. I didn't answer the phone. Kept calling me, kept calling me, kept calling me. And I'm saying, well, it's my fault. I knew what was going to happen. This is totally my fault. I was in a situation I needed um, assistance in order to use my silly phone. And I knew this was what was going to happen. So let me just write it out. Eventually, I had to block him because he was just calling me, texting me. I had to block him. I'm saying, why can't it be that you can have an interaction with a woman that's not ultimately going to lead to you jacking off? And shortly after that, maybe a couple weeks after that, a similar situation happened. And again, I got myself into it. So I took full blame. So this guy came to me in my community. This guy came to me and said, I'm a musician. And I'm promoting my playlists, right? I do some songs. I'm a producer. I'm a singer, all-round musician. Um, I'm promoting my playlist. And I said, okay, I'll take a listen. I can't listen to it now. So I said, okay, tell you what, WhatsApp me the playlist. I'll listen to it and give you my feedback. Right? So of course, I give him my number, WhatsApp me, and I listen. Okay, so he took the number, WhatsApp me, send me the playlist. I listen to a couple of the songs, I give him feedback. Can you guess what happened after that? By the next day, he's texting me, can we meet? Can we get to know each other? And this and this and this. And he was becoming so persistent and starting to bombard me. Again, I had to block him. Why? Why couldn't it just have been, all right, you introduce yourself, you send me a playlist, I listen to your songs, I give you feedback as two mature, rational adults. Why can't it end there? Why does it always have to be you need to go the next step to chasing the woman, to wanting to exploit the woman? Why are you so delusional, man? I need you to tell me. Why? It's like your capacity for self delusion is so great. It boggles my mind how great it is. You can have, nowadays people talking about, so you have a scale of 1 to 10, right? It's a thing we have nowadays. We rate each other, especially women are. I don't hear it happening so much for men, but people have a scale where they say, okay, well, she's a 5, she's a 6, she's a 10, she's a whatever. You will have a man who, by most persons' estimation, let's say most persons would say he's a 3 or a 4, based on his earning capacity, based on his physical presentation, based on his intellectual capacity, just overall is how most persons would find him admirable, um, as a mate, as a companion, as a spouse. So let's say he's a 3 or a 4. And so he's in a room with this woman who most people would say would be a 9 or a 10. Right? I guarantee you, I guarantee you, this man will always feel like he stands a chance. It doesn't matter the disparity. It doesn't matter how wide the gap is between them. In his mind, he always stands a chance with this woman and he will try to get her. If the tables are flipped, so if you have a woman with a 3 or a 4, and we have a man who most people would say, based on his credentials, based on his intellect, his earning power, whatever, would be a 9 or a 10. That woman is less likely to consider that she can be with this man. She's more likely to be realistic. And even if she said, okay, I'm gonna go for him, but I'll know that there's a certain place I'm gonna be, and I'm not going to surpass that, right? I'm gonna be this in his life. I'm only going to be this, even if we do get together. That's not so with the man in the first scenario. In his mind, he always stands a chance to be her ultimate, and he should be her all, even though he's bringing pretty much nothing to the table. And this leads me to these men who talk about the alpha. Everybody's an alpha male nowadays. Everybody is an alpha, right? And what you find now is, because the tables are slowly turning in terms of what women now bring to the table. We have more women in academia. We have more women starting businesses compared to men. We have at least both parties going out to earn and contribute, right? So what we find is that things are shifting, the roles are shifting, the positions in the home are shifting. But I don't think most men are able to even grasp that and to understand that they need to re re define the roles in their head, and to accept that women now need to be given more of the power in the home. You can't be saying that, okay, we're both going out to work. We both go out to work 8 hours a day. We're both contributing to the funding of the bills, the whatever needs to be taken care of in the home. And yet you as a man still want to be in charge. You as a man still want to be seen as the head of the family, the one who makes the final decision. How do you rationalize that when she is at least meeting you halfway in terms of you both go out to work, you both come in tired, you're both contributing to the bills, and yet you're still expecting her, having done that, you're still expecting her to cook, clean, wash, take care of the children, and then you are still the head of the family. It is absolutely ridiculous to me. absolutely ridiculous. And only the mind of a delusional person will find this acceptable. You are both providing funds, both working out, and then she still has to do all the traditional household chores, look after the kids, in addition to what she has to do in terms of financial responsibility. She meeting you halfway with that, and then she holding up this corner still. And then on top of that, you want to still hold all the power and authority in the home. Only the mind of a delusional person would think that this is okay and acceptable and fair. Yet, this is what most men still believe. And it even reached the point where nowadays you even have some men who they want to be kept. They want to be kept men because, like I said, a lot of times the women hold the financial power. The tables are turning so quickly and so drastically that in some cases it's the woman who holds the financial power. And you will have some men who they will want her to pay all the bills. They will want to be kept and still want to demand to be the head. I heard someone use the term the other day. So they want these so-called alpha males. So they want to be the alpha males and they want a submissive provider. They want a woman who provides for them and is submissive to them. Now you tell me if that isn't the height of delusional. That is the ultimate delusion. Women mistake being single mothers and being unmarried as empowerment and being in a relationship as oppression. I don't think women mistake any of that. Women are simply saying, and who makes women single mothers? It's the men who abandon their roles. That's how women become single mothers. No woman in her right mind sets out to become a single mother. She does it because that's what she's left with, because the men abandoned the post. And so she has to do what she has to do. She has to do what she has to do. But how can you be telling a woman that she must meet you halfway in terms of the finances? She must go out to work just as though you go out to work, because one income can't hold up the household. You both go out to work, you both provide, and at the same time now, she still has to do all the traditional chores: cooking, washing, cleaning, picking up after you and the children, and you are still the head of the house. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? And I've been throwing this out. I've been throwing this out to people to say, make it make sense for me. Explain it to me. Make it make sense. I'm yet, and I think I'm a very objective person. I'm a very objective. If you provide the reason, the logical reason, I will accept it. I will. So far, I've thrown this out in many different areas on social media, in videos, people in real life who I talk to, and I've thrown it out there. Give me the rationale. Give me some reasons why. Nobody so far has come up with anything substantial. The most they're saying is, well, the Bible says so, God says so. I'm going to send a link for you, Stephen, to join the live. You say you'll explain to me. There's a link. I think men see themselves in, it's like they see themselves with different eyes than what the reality is. They have their own, they have their own reality, put it that way. They can't accept what is. They have to make up this illusion in their head, and that's what they're going by. Okay, so I posted the link. If you want to join me in studio, please join me. And this is what we're going to be doing every night, right? Because for me, these are things I want to really dash it out in my head. I want it to make sense to me. As a writer, as a teacher, as a parent, as someone who interacts with friends and relatives, I want to be able to, I want these things to make sense. And this gender roles, gender disparity, gender identification, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. I want us to unpack it. I want us to confront it. I want us to, I want it to make sense to me. What we do should make sense. And as adults, we must be able to confront each other and confront the issues. And what don't make sense, we must mash it down. What's unfair, was not equitable, we must mash it down and make it fair and make it equitable. And if systems are in place that we are benefiting from, but we see where it's not fair to others, we must remove ourselves from it. We must help to mash it down so that it becomes equitable, right? That is what I believe. That's what I believe. If you come into the world, you see certain systems in place, you see certain customs that people do. If they don't make sense to you, don't do it. Challenge it. I posted the link. It's there. The link is in the chat. Let me go back and let me check again. Okay. There, I posted it again. And if anybody else wants to join me each night when we have these discussions, please feel free to come on and let's talk. Let's unpack. Let's unpack these things. It's not a matter of who is smarter than who and who is better than who. It's a matter of getting to the nitty-gritty, getting to the truth, getting to what is right and what is fair. As my uncle used to say, it's not who is right, it's what is right. What is right, what is fair, what is equitable. And if you are a man watching this or listening to this, and you know that you don't engage in some of these practices that I've outlined, and you know that your fellow men engage in these practices, it is your duty to take them to the side and say, brethren, don't do that. It's not, it don't look good, it don't sound good, you're not representing the gender in a good way. Don't send anything that's not requested. Know your place, know your position. As an adult, you must be able to tell when someone is just being polite, when someone is just being friendly, and meet them on that same energy. You don't have to, it's not always, I mean, I know the male has a leaning towards being the chaser, right? Even the aggressor, let's put it that way, in terms of mating. But everything is not mating. Everything is not reduced to the mating ritual. We live in a society, a civilized society. The animalistic instinct that you have to surrender that to your right to live in a civilized society. You can't just go about saying, well, I'm a man, this is my natural instinct, I'm going to play this out. The whole idea of being in a civilized society is that you're going to surrender some of these animalistic tendencies, as natural as they are. Some of them have no place in a civilized society. Biologically speaking, we fall under the category of animals, but we have evolved to live in a civilized society with rules and regulations, and we must conform, and we must try to think about the other person, and our actions should not infringe on the rights of the other person. We must show respect for each other. And men, I'm urging you, when you see women on the street, when you see women in the workplace, even the women in your home, you're not entitled to them. You're not entitled to their attention or their affection or their bodies or their space. And it doesn't always have to be about, I know not all of you are the same, Winston. You know, it goes without saying. We make, when we're having these discussions, it is taken for granted. It goes without saying, not everybody is like this. Definitely not everybody is like this. But too many men are like this. If you ask your sisters, ask the women in your life, your sisters, your co-workers, even your spouse, to show you on a daily basis the bombardment of pics and proposals and unsolicited attention that they get. Ask them to show you. You would be ashamed. You'd be ashamed of your fellow men. Maybe because you don't do it, you don't really have an idea of how it's literal. I can't think of another word but bombardment, barrage, flooded. I'll be here on Facebook and you just see a call coming in. This stranger is calling me to have an intimate conversation with me. He has never met me. He doesn't know anything about me. He just looks at my pic He identifies that I'm a female, and that is enough for him to call me up, and he's expecting that I'm going to be in the frame of mind to receive his call and to be intimate with him and ultimately to meet with him and engage in intercourse with him. Ultimately, that's what he's thinking. You pass them on the street, you say hello, you're pretty much saying, would you like to date me? If you smile, you're pretty much saying, let's get married. You do it 2 times, that seal the deal. You don't even need a marriage license after that. In his mind, that has sealed the deal. And he will go to his friends and brag and boast about how this woman, yeah man, she like me, she love me off, she you see, she smiled with me this morning. Delusional. Yes, it works for some women. I'm not saying women aren't delusional either at all, but I'm comparing the level. I'm comparing the actions of both, and I'm saying by far, men are delusional. The reality that they see, the way they perceive themselves, is so different from what the reality is actually is. And I would urge the men who don't behave like this to check their brothers, to check their co-worker. When you hear them talking about women and say, boy, she smiled with me, or boy, she said morning, and she loved me off, and I go try a thing. Just take him to the side and say, brother, cut this out, cut it out. It's nonsense. She's just being a civilized human being, and you, my friend, should try to be a civilized human being as well. You see a woman on the street, she asks you for help. Help me out by, as I said, call my phone so I can make a call. That is not an invitation to mate with me. You should be able to help out a woman without thinking that you're going to get into her panties. Why is that always the ultimate goal for you? Snap out of the animalistic instinct that you have and understand that you live in a civilized society. Women should be able to walk past you on the street without you catcalling her and whistling and wanting to stop her from the mission she's on to talk nonsense to her. Men, you need to represent your gender much better than what you've been doing. And those who have been doing it, you need to step up and help to guide the younger ones, help to guide your brothers, your co-workers. When you hear them talking nonsense, when you hear them not representing well, you need to check them, because they're a nuisance and they're a danger. Because you see, because of the delusionment that they have and the entitlement that they have, and because they are physically stronger, and also because emotionally a lot of them are not able to deal with rejection. They feel like you're dissing them. So with all of those factors together, they are a danger. So Kevin is saying, why assume it's only to get in her panties though? What if the man really wants to get to know her? Getting to know her to what end? Getting to know her to what end? It's not everything you even need to get to know her. Some it can just be a casual thing. Good morning, and you're gone. Why you even need to get to know her? You see a lady walking through the community, going to the supermarket, going on her way. You don't need to get to know her. Somebody asks you for a favor on the street. Help me out. Can I make a call? You don't need to get to know her. You don't. And a lot of men will admit to you they have no concept in their mind of platonic relationship. I've heard many men say this. Ultimately, the intention is to get into her panties. Even if they're there and they say, oh, we're friends and she has her boyfriend. I've heard many men say this. Ultimately, he's just there waiting to see that relationship end for him to try and see what he can get. It's very few men who are able to have that maturity and that self-restraint to maintain a platonic relationship with a woman. Very few men, and it's sad. It's really sad that this is the case, but it that's just the reality. I agree with you, Kevin, that it can, but in most cases, it's the woman is not receptive to that. That's not what she wants, and it is be you're coming over into her space. At least allow her to indicate in a genuine way, in something more than hello, good morning. Look for a deeper hint that she is going to be receptive to that before you come over into her space like that. It has to be something more than she's just being polite. She's just being sociable. You have to look for um, deeper hints than that before you interpret her action as wanting to get to know you. Your scenarios are no longer the norm. Women keep men in the friend zone to benefit them. Attention is the new currency. If a man and a woman are friends, genuine friends, I think the benefit is mutual. When a man start thinking that, oh, you only have me as in a friend zone to benefit you, that indicates to me that he doesn't really want to be in the friend zone. He has an ulterior motive, and to him it's taking too long for her to step him up to what where he really wants to be. That's why he's thinking that, oh, it's only you going to benefit from this. That's an indication to me that that's not really where he wants to. He doesn't want to be in the friend zone. So it's I'm going to wrap this up tonight. We're going to have these discussions every night at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to post the link for those who want to join me in studio. You're free to do so. I encourage that. I want us to have dialogue. It's not about who is right, but we want to get to the nitty gritty of the matter, the nitty gritty of the matter. We want to unpack these things because a lot of times we accept things just because. Just because you're born, come see everybody doing it, you're born, come here, so this is how it go, and you accept it and you don't even think about it. It's time for us to think about the things that we do and say and look seriously at how they impact others and how they impact us, and decide if we need to discard it or it's something that we can save and maybe build on it, make it better. or we need a brand new thing. Let's see. This is the way forward. This is how we have to move forward. Right? As rational, respectful human beings living in a civilized society. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up for now. I'm looking forward to being with you again tomorrow night. Feel free also to go on the channel and check out some other videos that we have already uploaded. We have dozens and dozens of videos on similar topics. You can watch them and post your comments. I'll always respond, maybe not immediately, but I always try to respond to all the comments and questions. So this is Cam. Take care of yourselves, fam. I'll see you tomorrow night.